coming right at me, Christoph. I like jumped about an inch.
And speaking of 1 inch long, hello and welcome to Tangents.
Hosted by Movie Phone.
Penis enlargements.
Brought to you by Space Ghost.
By smoking.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Andrew from beautiful Cleveland, Ohio, where the sun never rises. With me tonight, as always, is the beautiful and sexual Christoph. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be back at Tangents.
I was sick.
Been a month away. I'm sure that everybody's just eager to get into it. We have a lot of news stories, or not.
Apparently, I don't have any audio right now. That's weird.
All right.
I see myself audioing. I'm very quiet, it looks like, though. So let me turn
All right,
myself up.
so
Now I'm
Everybody
loud.
listens to me and no Andrew. It's the Christoph Show.
Yay!
Dun, 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 dun.
It's the Christoph Show
All right.
with Christoph, and that's
Who
it.
else has sound? All right, it sounds like you're on.
Okay, sorry, Christoph. It's no longer the Christoph Show with just you.
Now. Foiled again.
Oh,
Like the Christoph Show isn't tomorrow.
I know, right? You could.
Christoph's like officially Zorak or Moltar. I don't know. You choose, man.
Both good choices.
That's true. I have them over there in my studio. They're right over there. All right, so who's got their?
I want to be Zorak, but I think realistically I'm a Moltar.
I'm more of Brack.
Because Moltar's more a wizard.
So who's got the audio turned up of the show, because I'm hearing us on delay. Stop it.
I think it's not me. Let's find out if it's me. Maybe it's
Yeah,
not me.
I'm not tuned in.
All right,
so.
now it's gone. So
Maybe it was you.
nope, I'm fully paused there. Anyway,
Mhm.
I will seek out the world. Anyway,
you are.
speaking of people who don't listen to me, Jeff is here as well. How are you, buddy?
Hello, it's me. I've had my latest round of COVID booster. Everything is fine except for the weird green glowing and the way that my body feels.
Excellent.
Other than that, everything's delightful.
Thank you for getting boosted.
Yeah, it's my jam. I just like all the vaccines. Somebody at work was like, "Are you concerned about side effects?" I'm like, "Nope, give them all to me. Give them to me right now. Just all of them. Just put them in." And
I will gargle that shit.
yeah, like, I don't know. Are you concerned about the side effects of COVID? Because I heard they suck. They include being in the hospital and dying. So no, I'm doing all right. It's good to be back. I'm glad we're having a tangents.
Me too.
Spent some time this week prepping for 909 Day. Wasn't great prep, but I did do it. And Christoph was there yesterday. I spent some time running my 909 RD9, whatever we bastard 09, through some guitar pedals. Very noisy.
Nice.
To great effect. And
Good.
that's about it. It's been pretty relaxed down here. I've been trying to write some more music,
Nice.
and I need 3 or 4 more identity crises. You know, just the usual.
Okay, cool. Well, who are you today?
I don't know.
Good.
Who are
Good
any
to
of us
hear.
any day? We're just atoms and shit.
Yay. I love particles.
By Dr. Strangelove.
And we're mostly space.
And we'll become silhouettes when our bodies finally go.
My body already wins.
Yay. Mine too. It's fun getting old. And speaking of old, Justin's with us as well. How you doing,
Great.
buddy?
How are you? I'm good. I just got back from the West Coast. I'm feeling rejuvenated.
Excellent.
Yeah. What else? I'm looking forward to NobCon.
Yes.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a party because Jeff and Christoph won't be there because they're party poopers.
Try to come on your knob next year.
That's right.
Yeah, it's pretty close to O'Hare, Jeff. You can pretty much fly in and head over to Schaumburg. You could actually totally avoid the city if you don't want to deal with the...
Yeah, we looked at coming this year, and I was gonna bring everybody up. And because I've got 3 kids and 1 wife, that turns into 5 people real fast.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just it's impossible to do 5 people with like 3 little-ish kids. I mean, you know, young teenagers to little kids in a hotel.
Yeah.
We were gonna do an Airbnb, and then like I racked it all up. And of course, we're vegan and don't eat like human food, and so I was like, wow, it's $100,000 to go to NobCon. So it was not the year for going to NobCon.
No.
Wow. Yeah, well, if you ever come into the city, you know, I'm basically vegan diet too, so we can, I can show you all the good stuff here.
I would like to come. Next year might be the year.
Join us at NobCon.
So yeah, the Ghost Terminal project is now in the caring, loving hands of Adam Bruce.
Excellent.
So we'll see where that goes.
Very good.
Picked up a new MIDI controller out of necessity.
What'd you get?
And so I actually, it's funny because we have Nectar on the list today. I got an Impact GXP 61.
Yes.
I prefer 61. I'm not really a piano player, so 88 makes no sense to me. And I've been, so you can see behind me, it's an Arturia Analog Laboratory 61. Came out about 11 years ago. And I liked it because you can see I've got the Prophet 6 and the Rev 2 modules there. And the way it is I only have about 8 to 10 inches of space for the keyboard. So pretty much all the MIDI controllers are too deep for that desk. So I've been waiting around for someone to make a friggin' not deep MIDI controller that has aftertouch and velocity sensitivity. And nobody can get it until this. And kudos Nectar.
Nectar feels nice. They have a nice key bed.
Yeah, it's semi-weighted, like almost piano style. This is all synth action, so I can play both, but it'll be an adjustment phase for me when it gets here.
Yeah, no, they're pretty good. Well, good. I'm glad that you got a new stuff and things.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty cheap actually. It was sub $100, so
that's a good deal.
Sometimes it's the boring utility stuff that is actually kind of exciting, you know?
Yeah.
I haven't gotten anything. Nothing excites me. I am a creature of utter depression when it comes to music gear lately. There's nothing that's been coming out that's exciting me whatsoever, which is good for my credit cards.
I was going to say it's probably the worst thing that could happen to you.
I know, right? Probably not. We'll see. We'll see what's coming up at NobCon. I do know that my good friends at Synthstrom will be there this year. And they're going to be showing off the beta for the next version of the operating system that they're working on at NobCon.
yeah.
So that'll be exciting. I may or may not lick them when I see them. We'll see.
Yeah, I know the last year when you went there, you said it was kind of vendor sparse.
Yes, there's
supposed to be pretty packed
there's
this
plenty
year, right?
of vendors this year. So
Good.
it'll be exciting. So yeah, folks that are coming to NobCon this weekend in Chicago, hope to see you there. I'll have X Studios stickers to hand out to people. So that'll be fancy.
And you know,
And then the next weekend after that, I'm going to Toronto
nice.
to go see New Order and the Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, nice show.
That's good.
Yes, and to hang out with my sister.
We were going to go see Bauhaus. I guess it would have been Monday.
Oh, that ain't going to happen.
Nope.
Yeah.
That is not going to happen. They canceled that show. I mean, like, I'm glad that they canceled the show.
Yeah, Peter decided to go back into rehab, I think.
Rehab is good. If you need rehab, that's exactly where you should be, and I would much prefer that he be there than on stage.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Or behind stage, dead.
Yeah, or under the stage, like wherever behind.
Or in the Swedish tabloids because you're screaming on the sidewalk.
Oh yeah, there's that one
Beat up
too.
by security again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm bummed that we're not going to get to see the show, but I hope yours are good. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. And I know that at least the Pet Shop Boys are pretty straight-laced, so they probably won't be on drugs when I see them.
Yeah, Pet Shop Boys and Hell Shop are your two favorite bands, right, Andrew?
That is correct, sir. Quite a disparate combination of bands.
I think if you know Andrew, it speaks a lot to his personality. I think I like it.
That I'm angry and German and gay as hell.
Look, hey, all I'm saying.
All right. Well, if you think so, buddy.
No, we could go on a long tangent, and I'll shut up because we have so many.
Oh
news
my
items.
God, we have so many news items. But yeah, maybe I'll grab Justin and Robin because I know Robin will be up at NobCon this weekend. Maybe we'll do a quick thing together at NobCon. You can see us all physically touching each other or something like that.
Well, now that you got that vaccine, yeah, you could do that.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You
Andrew?
make a music together. You should collaborate together on a song in person.
Oh yeah, no, can't do that.
What would you
Yeah.
all this music gear for? Definitely not making music.
No.
Well, maybe that's some music gear that was travel size.
I know, right?
Actually, Jody asked me if we were going to do any Ix like live coverage.
Yeah, that's why we might do something like that. I mean, it won't, it doesn't take much for us to. I don't know how live it's going to be because the internet in that hotel is really, really bad, as is like cell phone connection.
sure.
So, but I might record some stuff and
the live
put it up
stream.
later on or something like that, or
Yeah. So yeah, she offered to video if you wanted like us to.
Oh,
be
cool.
in-
That'd be really cool. But yeah, I think we can have some fun with that. And yeah, I mean, I know that there's usually at least like a Golden Shrimp Guild like live jam at some point, and everyone gets together. We did that last year in somebody's room, and that was a lot of fun. So who knows? Bring your mobile music toy and plug in.
That all sounded really wrong, by the way.
No, it sounded really right. We are a show about going off on stupid tangents, but we're also a show about gear news. And because I was sick 2 weeks ago, we didn't have a show, but now we do. But we still have 4 weeks worth of news to get through in 2 hours. I may have removed some news stories from the final cut because some of it involves sales that no longer are valid. We might combine some stuff as well because some of the things are like the same pseudo companies are putting stuff out, and we might just clump all that together and talk about it. We'll see how we feel about it first. So, before we lose our minds too much, let's get started, shall we? Who'd like to paste the news in?
Me.
All right, Jeff, you're in. Our first story, Christoph, is the fantastic device, by that I mean software, called the Iceworks Nambu, which is a semi-modular OP6-style FM synthesizer for iOS. That's when Christoph shakes his fist. There you go. Thank you. All right. So this thing's kind of fun. It's kind of like a goofy version of the OP6. It's a 6-voice FM synthesizer. It's FM-y. Wow. Can't use it on Mac OS, so they haven't cross-plugged it out or anything like that. It's $15, which is it's about on par for soft synths nowadays. It does support AUV3, so if you are a mobile device musician and stuff like that, this will work with whatever you're using with your iPad for your sequencing program and stuff like that. I got a chance to listen to the demo. I didn't download it or anything like that, and it sounds good. Sounds like a nice 6-operator FM synthesizer.
Yeah. I actually think it has pretty nice onboard effects too. Actually, I was sort of surprised.
Yeah, for an iPad OS based or iOS based synth, it sounds really good.
Yeah, I think for me, and I've tried so many over the years, I think that the Moog iOS plugins are just apps are some of my favorite. I mean, they're just so good. So on a scale of like Moog to like, rando, like poorly generated iOS app.
Yes.
I'd give this thing like a 7.5. I think
that sounds about right. Hi, your opponent. You can see your opponent at NobCon this weekend. Ask him for some fun stickers.
So though I can't run this synth, I will say I looked into it, and it is checking the box that I look for in any FM synth, and that's having operators that aren't sine waves, and it has 32 of them, which makes it tremendously powerful.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's a really important function to have. You can get away with it if you have 6 operators. When you have a 4-operator FM, you really need those other waveforms. Yeah. But here you've got 6 and those extra waveforms, so that's a lot of power.
It is. It's a mighty thing, and I'm hoping they cross-grade it over to macOS, because I'm not much of a iOS, iPadOS musician, because I work with them all day, so I don't really like to play with them at night. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, I find it fiddly, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
It's got to be really very purpose-built for the synth, like the Animoog.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of my favorites.
But also, like, it would not be good as hardware.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I think the Animoog really takes advantage of the iPadOS environment and the touch environment and stuff like that.
It for sure does. So.
Yeah, like skeuomorphic like keyboard apps on iOS make zero sense. Like if you don't write it to that interface, to that device, it's just
agree. I agree. Even though some people love skeuomorphism, I am not one of those people.
They're wrong.
They're incorrect. It is unacceptable.
It's simple.
Unacceptable.
There's only one example of good skeuomorphism, and that's reason, and everything else is wrong.
Exactly. And your opponent is wrong because he didn't like the Animoog.
Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry, it wasn't his jam. It didn't stick. You are wrong.
Yeah, that is actually the incorrect take here. Sorry, you're gonna have to leave and come back and try again.
No, don't leave. Stay with us, please. We don't want you to leave.
In and out, like the Grandpa Simpson meme, where
yeah, like, exactly.
Old man yells at cloud.
Oh my god!
Story of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the this OP6 style thing, the Nambu by Iceworks. $15 on the App Store for iOS and iPadOS, but not macOS yet. Hopefully soon, because they're all running the same chip anyway. All right. Jeff, did you get the Udo Super 6 dedicated patch editor installed on your computer yet?
Negative. It costs money. Computers are dumb. And also, after reading the forum, so this guy's been posting on the Udo forums a lot. This is it's kind of a weird patch editor in the sense that this was less weird 20 years ago. Today it's very weird, where somebody has kind of inferred, almost like a backwards reverse engineered inference based what each of the knobs and faders is actually doing.
Okay.
So it's not exactly right. It's like rightish.
Wow.
I don't know. It's kind of very weird. I did not get it. I won't be getting it. I only own one editor, which it's for the virus, and it's from Mystery Islands Music. They basically picked off where Access dropped. No.
Oh, so is this thing not officially developed or sanctioned by UDO?
No. And
it's like a third party. I see.
George from UDO just like kind of ignores this dude who periodically pops up and he's like, you should work with me on this synth editor and just tell me exactly how the synthesizer works. And they're like, I don't think we're gonna do that, probably. And
wow,
I don't know. So it's not licensed or sanctioned. It infers the ranges and the curves of the various settings on the synthesizer as best it can.
Okay. And it's like $30.
Yeah. It's also, so that would be fine. Like I would live with any and all of this if I wanted the thing. If the Super 6 weren't such crazy active development.
Right.
I mean, it's literally still in beta. It's like 0.5 firmware. And periodically they change the firmware and the thing just like sounds different. It's just like it's a different synthesizer when they update the firmware. And you've got to decide if you like what those changes are or not.
So the patch editor, it will probably need to be heavily revised as it goes along.
Yeah. It is very much not going, like the inferences that work on version 0.56 or whatever it's on right now will not work on like 0.7.
So, as the Udo Super 6 expert of the all of explored space, do you think that this device needs a patch editor?
It has some. There are some components of the Super 6 that or some behaviors of it that would be really benefited by a patch editor. So it has essentially no storage on the device. I think that actually all of the storage is loaded into ROM on the FPGA chip. I don't know this to be true, but I think it's true. And the reason that I think it's true is because it holds 128 patches. It holds 32 waveforms. And it holds, I want to say, 32 sequences.
Okay. That's not a lot.
Something like that. That's not that much. But if you put all of those on there and you're using a Mac, because Macs, right, that the indexing files,
Yes.
those index files overfill the storage, and then you actually can't complete the transfer.
Oh dear.
So that's stupid. And people have said, like, can we please just get like some sort of a script or some sort of like basic system, just like a patch transfer, like just a transfer protocol,
Right.
so that we're not writing the junk files on there. And the UDO people are like, use a Windows computer. And people are like, the thing is, I don't have one, and I'm not going to buy one for your synthesizer.
Right.
And so people
I just spent the money that I could spend on a good Windows computer on your goddamn synthesizer.
yeah, people have gotten like proper hot and bothered over this, and sold the synthesizer, and like,
Wow.
it every once in a while somebody blows up on the forum about it in like a big way. I think it's kind of dumb, but I mean, I don't know. I can live with it.
I mean, to be fair, the answer shouldn't be, well, buy yourself another type of computer than the one that you're used to using for everything that you do. That's not the answer. It should be, yeah, we should work on developing that. That's a good idea.
So it would benefit from things like that. And then, of course, because it is a nearly knob per function, but not quite knob per function with no digital display synthesizer on it.
Okay.
It is sometimes if you've made a patch and you want to know what's going on in that patch and you don't remember what it is, you can't see it. It becomes very invisible until you sort of like do the thing where you change all the settings until you change it and you find where it sounded right, and you can wiggle your way through it, but it's not great. So a patch editor could be of value to it, but also it's really not meant for, like, I don't know, it's not that deep. It's got like 20 sliders and a few knobs on it. Like, if you can't figure it out, probably you should just get better at using synthesizers. It's not that hard.
Right.
Well, especially once you learn it, like the layout's kind of non-standard. So once you learn the layout and you learn the thing, it's not bad. But I would say that's the biggest thing is really just that the file management and patch. I don't know what I would call that.
To say, it sounds like it's just a librarian more than anything else.
Yeah, but I didn't mean specifically librarian. I meant sort of like understanding what the settings are, like some sort of patch archaeology.
Oh yeah, so you can like maybe just like see what it looks like on a.
Yeah, so you could see the differences would be useful, but that's it. Otherwise, it doesn't really need anything.
Cool. Well, there you go. So if you have $30 laying around and you want something that might not work, the next beta version of the Super 6, then this is just the right piece of software for you. Otherwise, get a Windows computer. You monsters.
Also, I mean, the Super 6, if you're not cool with your patches not working the next version of the software or not sounding like they did, you should also not have a Super 6. Maybe sometimes they're just very different patches on the next firmware update.
We'd like pull up the video of Ben Jordan talking about how customers shouldn't be beta testers.
That said, Novation did that with the desktop Nova. They came out with a firmware that gave you more voices, and it changed the effect settings so it would change the sound of your patches. But nobody complained because the firmware gave you, much more power. Yeah. But you had to know what you wanted to preserve beforehand because you weren't getting your presets back later.
Yeah.
That actually happens with the sequential stuff. So the OV6 and the Prop 6, because if you get to a certain firmware, you can disable it because it's got old slot mode and then it's got the new sort of vintage mode. And your patches will sound widely different.
Yes. Yeah.
And in the Native Instruments Reactor world, I know versions 2, 3, 4, 5, whenever you changed versions, upgraded your version of Reactor, none of your previous creations looked the same as before. We just scrambled them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was before they went with the more standardized interface.
That's nuts. Well, speaking of nuts, and speaking of Jeff's favorite stuff, so our friends at Isla Instruments has announced an expansion board for the S2400, and they announced it on Instagram. So here's an Instagram link for y'all to have to look at in order to understand what's going on. So Jeff, tell me about this expansion board.
Harkening back to the days of when samplers were actually good, and you could do cool things with them. They made it like that essentially. So it's they're adding an effects board and some other stuff to, I believe, add in even like VSTs, which is kind of weird. But they made this big honking block of hardware. You can add these cards into it and add new features, and that's going to be cool. They announced this. Well, they kind of like sideways announced it. They announced it yesterday by Alex Ball releasing a video saying that there was a new guidebook coming. I don't know. Things are weird over at Isla Instruments sometimes. The Alex Ball video is very good and everybody should watch it. It's very funny. He wrote a song about the new firmware. Using the new firmware. It's very funny. But there's a version 2.0 of the firmware coming too, and it looks like that's gear up for this.
Good. You want to post a link up to the hardware board onto the thing?
No.
Okay, fine. Christoph, you want to go ahead and do that because somebody's being a jerk face.
Yes.
Oh, look, he decided to do it because I threatened him with his job.
Bam.
Yeah, no, so that's cool. It's gonna be some add-on hardware to it. I mean, it's cool.
That's crazy.
Peripherals.
I love it. I think it's fantastic that he's doing this kind of thing, and I'd like that he's doing it this way.
Yeah.
Oh, Actitech wants to know if you could actually just sing the link to this instead.
I would, but I don't think that I can.
You can or you won't?
I think I can't, actually. I think it's beyond my capability set.
Oh, come on. I happen to have an analog instrument here. I'll play along. Ready? Go.
Man, this shit's getting weird, man.
Well,
I'm not going to command you guys.
I know it's weird, man.
I'm gonna post the link also for anybody who's interested in the 2.0 stuff. So here's a song for you.
It make me
What do you think
sad.
about Justin? Are you gonna get any expansion boards for yours?
So yeah, I mean, I was reading this with some interest. I don't know. I mean, I think it's very cool. It sounds like they're kind of adding to the platform a little bit, like especially the hey, we're going to put plugins. I mean, maybe some effects would be welcome, but I almost kind of want it to be a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's the appeal of the new SP1200 from Rossum to me, is that it is so deliberately like caveman machine.
Yeah. I'm just a simple drum machine that uses samples there, PCM, yeah.
But I think the Isla, I like that they're doing it this way because you can choose to have it or not.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, I felt that way about the Prophet 5 because, I mean, I have a Prophet 5 or 4. I could have bought the Prophet 10, but I'm like, you know what? Some of the best records ever made were made with 5 notes on this thing. Do I really need it? You know? The answer was no, but if I want to buy the card, I can
Sure.
get it.
So one of the expansions coming out from Isolated Sinners for this is they're working on an analog filter board, and that's one of those things in EMU history, SP12, 2400, emulator 1.2, Emacs, where people often talk about how they eventually switched over to digital filters, and some people really want those analog filters. And this is a way to get them. Waldorf actually has a super expensive synth right now that has an expansion board where you get a certain number of analog filters that you can use as well. Which Waldorf is that? I know Rice-Fulber has it. It's the I can't remember, but it's very, very expensive, so it doesn't matter because they'll never have it.
Same.
But I mean, so I could see the appeal of if you don't want to have digital filters, if you want a real analog filter, this is going to get you that much closer to having that original EMU unit.
Right. I know that the Quantum has.
Because Wu-Tang is forever.
Yeah, the Quantum has analog filters.
That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's funny because the Iridium is basically the same synth, but it actually uses digital emulations of filters. I mean, it depends on how you feel about it, how precious you are about it.
Or whether you like the Iridium or not.
Yeah. No, I mean, I happen to like the Iridium, but I'm not particular, and I didn't hate the Quantum. It's just that to me, I needed something that was rack mountable, and it was just not.
Oh yeah, understandable.
Yeah, so I mean, Rice-Fulber got it, and I think it's his favorite analog synth ever, or favorite synth ever.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what he does all day, every day, and he can afford.
Yeah, it's his job.
Yeah, he gets paid to do this, so yeah, it's a business expense. It's a tax write-off for him.
Yeah, I have heard bad things about the Iridium breaking for people. There's a one YouTuber out there that's sort of detailed.
Well, hopefully his Quantum won't.
No, just the Iridium. And I don't think it's the new one. I think it's the one I've got, because the keyboard version I think is okay.
Well, be careful with yours, young man.
But yeah, the Quantum is the synth that he brought home with him for the pandemic when we got locked down.
Nice. Those desert island synth, huh?
Quite literally.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see this.
And as we were talking about before, he was previously a really big EMU user. The Frontline Assembly album, Hardwired, was mostly an EMU emulator 4.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah, so even when they would use like a Minimoog, they would just sample it. It was because they didn't have good DAWs back then, so he would just sample everything and treat the emulator like a DAW.
Interesting.
I can see that. I can see that totally. So the S2400 expansion boards will be coming out soon on the pre-order and available when they make them, which is probably already like tearing apart old synthesizers and rebuilding these boards and stuff like that, like some crazed mad scientist.
For sure.
That's what I'm thinking.
Halfway expect that.
Probably. So our good friends at Nektar. I like singing like that. Nektar!
Speaking of Space Ghost characters, I think that's
right?
Nektar got written off the show. It sounded too much like Moltar.
Probably. So Nektar introduces the Witty Flex wireless MIDI system. Jesus Christ! So they have this thing called the MIDI Flex, and so now they have the wireless version of it called the Witty Flex. Nektar Witty Flex. Just kill me now, please. Just go ahead. Just murder me. So this thing is a Bluetooth MIDI device. And we've seen these kinds of things before. We've seen I know Yamaha's come out with these in the past. I think Roland has had a product like this as well. I think that the difference is that this thing goes right into Bluetooth as opposed to the other ones, which needed a dongle on the other end. This one is so you can, if you have like the Axe Edge from Roland, the Keytar that has a Bluetooth Bluetooth built into it, so you can actually use it to control another device through Wi-Fi through Bluetooth on there. So you can plug it into another synth and you can control it with your Keytar, which makes you infinitely sexier if you do something along those lines. And then there's also, you can get a dongle for like a USB dongle on there as well if you don't have a Bluetooth BLE in your laptop already. So that's kind of cool. I guess. Oh, and you can also connect up to 5 devices through this thing as well.
Yeah, that was going to be my comment.
Yeah, that's kind of handy.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, connecting one controller to one synth or one module or whatever. Yeah, but because Lord knows we want to get rid of cables if we don't need them, right?
Now this is all CME
Not me.
based. This
All
is like
cables.
this is the stuff that CME was doing back in the day. I don't know if CME is still around or not, but they actually you use a CME app to run all this shit on this thing anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah, if y'all want to get rid of your cables, I think Christoph and I will take them.
I will absolutely. I believe in wires 100% all the time. So I want my home to look like a combination of Brazil and the Matrix.
I'd like to talk to you about ducts. Are your ducts old,
Yeah.
worn out?
So ducts and cables
Ducks
everywhere.
tired and worn out. Yeah.
But there's a reason, because of my background in IT security. I hate anything
Same.
wireless, and I believe in dedicated wires for everything.
Yeah.
I even like wired headphones. That's my preference. I just like wires. I think they're reliable, they're simple, they're fast. They're easy to troubleshoot. So always wires. And so this might be convenient in your wiring, but would I trust it? Not at all.
Yeah.
Nothing I have that runs on Bluetooth is reliable.
I think the wonkiness of it is a definite concern, right? And I guess I'm complaining about all the cables, but I'm probably in that camp, Christoph, too. From a paranoia perspective.
Especially on stage, where there's like 300 phones around, half of them with their Bluetooth on.
Yeah.
And God knows what other interference, and this is a common radio frequency.
Yeah.
So always wires. I don't trust it. So, but I know other people, everybody else, especially I think people that are afraid of snakes hate wires and they want to get rid of all their wires. So go have at it and enjoy your unreliability.
Yeah.
So
I would.
I'm standing on cables right now and I'm totally fine with it. So I've got my mic cable here and it keeps wrapping up under my foot and it's still worth it.
It's cutting off the circulation. I'm starting to get dizzy, but it's still working.
Even my mouse has a wire.
Same.
Wow.
Yep.
So so I agree for the most part, but back when I was performing and stuff like that, as a sexy guitar player, the worst thing ever was having that MIDI cable unplug when you're jumping around like an asshole on stage. And so I was, seeking out wireless MIDI at a time when there was not many things out there available for wireless MIDI. And I did find I think M Audio made a wireless MIDI for a hot minute.
Oh yeah, it did.
It does make sense for a
Yes.
guitar. I'll grant you that. If you have something where you need to run around,
Yes.
it makes sense. Just like wireless mics make sense.
So
you're doing
here
a dance
the
routine.
Midair by M Audio is what I was using.
Wow.
So this would stick onto. Now this was the one half of the unit. And I don't know where the other half is. It's been years since I've used any of this stuff. I just happen to have the wireless drawer right here. So I just plug this thing in. Oh, the other one's inside the. There's a little pack on the side of the guitar strap, and that's where the other half of this thing goes. And so I would just plug this in, and then I would have wireless MIDI, and it worked great 99% of the time.
And it's funny, they're talking about how far their Bluetooths work here in the chat. And my Bluetooth speaker doesn't reach from my bedroom to my bathroom across the hall.
My AirPods, I can use them throughout the entire house with my phone sitting on the charger. So it doesn't matter where I am, I can do that without a problem. But yeah, I think the only time that I had a problem with the wireless on my guitar is I would actually use it also to trigger the start of the backing tracks as well. And somehow the signal got screwed up as right in the middle of one of our songs and stopped the backing track.
Yeah. Hey, everybody.
But us being the consummate professionals that we were at that point, we just fell right into this like solo jam kind of thing, and then the thing kicked right back up where it left off to the beat that we were still on. That was that.
So I saw a few bands on Friday, and I have to say, if their backing track stopped, it would go dead silent.
But the only thing we have on our backing tracks at that point were just drums, so it wasn't that big of a thing. But that was the one time my synth pop band opened for Bile, because that's a combination. Yes.
Yeah, that is.
They were very nice people. We
Were
couldn't.
they using the new Cherry Audio Elka X?
They were not.
Well,
But what is?
Well, speaking of Alex Ball, he just got to play an original synth.
Oh, yeah.
Polka. And he went to an Italian museum
yes.
of Italian
Mhm.
synths. And that was the dream for him, was to get to play it. And he gave a shout out to Cherry Audio for
Right.
releasing one.
and you can play one too.
Yeah. And that's something that happened in the last month. Our friends at Cherry Audio, although we don't have any friends at Cherry Audio, we just
True.
wish we did. They're great, you know. And we see all these nice things about them, and our phones just don't
Right.
ring, and it makes Christoph very,
Look at
very
the sadness
sad.
on Christoph's face.
But yeah, but as always, they've released another synth, and it's a synth
Yes.
Elka, Synthex Elka.
The Elka X.
The only, it's such a rare beast, at least in the U.S. That the only person I've seen demo it is Synthmania.
Mhm. Yes.
Who's Italian.
He is indeed.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to be there this year. At KnobCon.
Oh yeah,
He's usually there.
he was there or the year before.
2
I
years
should say,
before.
or the year before the year before.
Yes.
Good Lord.
So many years ago.
I really respect him. He's
He
quite the
is. He
expert.
did when I last saw him, he did a whole Kraftwerk medley for like 30 minutes. Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's
was
amazing. Love
fun. Yeah,
that.
it was fun. But anyway, this is the Elka X, based on the Synthex. This thing sounds amazeballs. It's really cool. It's like, I don't even know. There's great pictures of the Synthex hanging out in the Radiophonic Workshop back in 1986. This thing is gigantic, physical size-wise, but now it fits on the screen of your computer. We
Yeah.
live in the future,
I'm
my
having
friends.
Having a visceral response to that picture, like that is so awesome.
I know, right?
It's like a fairly eye behind him, and oh my.
Looks like a DX7, because everyone had a DX7 at one point in...
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. There.
That's I just finished reading a book about the Radiophonic Workshop, like a history of the Radiophonic Workshop called Special Sound. It's really good. It gets kind of nerdy at points, and that's why I was like, yeah.
So the design of the Elka X, if it was on your wall and it was behind you, you could use it to double as a Death Star prop,
Indeed.
because it has the pinstriping,
yeah.
the white
Mhm.
red buttons. So it's an aesthetically pleasing synth, and it's
Yes.
a weird synth. So I have a lot of software synths and hardware synths. So when I look at something like this, like, well, what's it offering me that I don't already have? So it's not just another 2-oscillator synth. There's just weirdness about it. The way it implements some things, like the way it implements its multimode filter, or the way it implements its oscillators, is different. And one thing that Alex Ball pointed out is that compared to other like two oscillator analog synths, it has a little bit of a sadness quality to it. It's warm, but it's really good at like just, I don't know, like a somberness to it. So, and that's what you're looking for when you're trying to get like another synth. Like the only reason why I bought my Behringer Pro 1 is because it had that sound. Because I've got other, 2 and 3 analog oscillator synths, but they don't sound the same. And that's what you're looking for with this. It's got that sound, and it's not as well known of a sound because it's not as, it didn't have the production run that other synths had. But it's definitely worth taking a listen to.
And now you can take a listen to it on your computer. $39.
Yep. Whereas anybody else would charge $149.
That's true. And its regular cost is $59.
Yeah.
So yeah, go get it, folks. It looks cool. It
And that's
sounds
why
good,
we want to be friends
and
with
Cherry
Cherry
Audio
Audio.
should send us one. We would even if Cherry Audio was our friends, we would even give away their synths on Tangents as prizes.
We would give one away at every Tangents, but
Yes.
we can't because they're holding
But all we
out
can
on
say
us
is instead,
by ignoring us and ignoring our love.
you can give it away by buying a copy of it and giving it to yourself.
Yes, and then you're supporting the
Exactly.
community.
There will be free synths later, Synth Lab. Don't you worry, my friend. There will be. It's happening.
Oh, it's on.
Oh yeah. He says, Womper says, play 38 pleases boss to celebrate episode 38. I should have played Filament 38 when we started the show, but I don't have the rights to that, so I couldn't play that.
All right, you got it.
And okay, that's enough because we're on YouTube as well.
Yep. Says I stopped it before there were notes, so it shouldn't trigger the algorithm.
Smart.
SMRT.
Yay. Speaking of smart, Sweetwater is now trying to be a competition with Reverb with their gear exchange. Hooray! So it's like Reverb, but there's no seller fees if you choose to get a Sweetwater gift card as your payment.
So this is very funny that this popped up as a news article.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they've started to push this, but they introduced this. Maybe they've revamped it or something, but they introduced it a very long time ago.
I agree, they did. I've seen it on there, but it wasn't very well publicized. Now it is.
My Sweetwater rep, who is wonderful. If you're watching, Greg, congratulations on your engagement.
I think we're a little too close to our Sweetwater reps. I think.
Look, I just know where he was on vacation. Not a big deal. Don't worry about it. But he was mentioning it to me a while ago, and they've been really trying to drum up support. So maybe what this indicates is that they're in drumming up that support, or they've changed the system a little bit or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah,
it's interesting. I mean, even Guitar Center has like a U section,
right?
But I think that obviously that's like not. Some of it might be consignment, but I think it's just their use stuff,
mm-hmm.
right? It's not like users selling stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You can sell the Sweetwater too.
Yeah.
You have to ship it to them, but they'll buy stuff from you.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this is going on. Yay.
I'm glad that there's a competitor to Reverb,
another one,
because Reverb can be kind of terrible.
Yep.
And competition breeds honesty.
Hopefully.
I basically don't use Reverb. I just use eBay because Reverb is an absolute nightmare if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, I've never had anything go wrong so far, so that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, the last thing I bought used, I got through Facebook Marketplace because I wanted to do it hand to hand.
In combat.
I was to say, like combat, you like fought the person for it.
Like I don't trust shipping money and hoping that something gets shipped to me. So I want to see it. I want to have it in my hand. I want to see that it works, and then I will give you cash.
That's why, and that's generally how I feel too. But that's why I think eBay is so good, is because eBay's buyer protection is so strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do a lot of my gear selling on Craigslist,
mm-hmm.
like very successfully, and I have not ordered yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someday I will get a Behringer Neutron on Craigslist.
I definitely preferred like the in-person, cold hard cocaine covered cash system.
I remember in Cleveland, Andrew, I bought my rack mount ASR 10 unit in an alleyway. This guy met me outside of a bagel shop and was like,
Hey, you want to buy a synthesizer? I got ASR 10s over here. You like the ASR 10s?
Yeah.
They get you bonus? I'm
totally going to get knifed, But, yeah, it went down all right.
Check out this DP4 Plus action.
Yeah, I know. That's a great effects unit, actually. It's maybe even worth getting stabbed for.
So yeah, Sweetwater, thanks for doing that. We really appreciate having that. Oh yeah.
Hi, Torin.
Greetings, Torin Krell. Torin Krell. I just like saying that.
Torin Krell's a long
excellent
time friend of mine, owner of many vintage analog synths like Prophet 5 and Mini Moog. User of original Roland System Modular.
Welcome.
Wow.
Speaking of Moog, Moog is raising the prices on some of their gear.
I didn't know it was possible.
Yeah, you'd have thunk that this would never have happened because
there's a bigger number than Infinity.
Yep. Because stuff is already pricey, but I like Moog stuff. You like Moog stuff. We all like Moog stuff. But yeah, they are raising the prices right now. Number of reasons, as people can understand. In our world of inflation, in our world of chip shortages, that kind of stuff. This is definitely probably one of the direct results of the tariffs. And guess what happens when people put tariffs on stuff? Who absorbs the price? Not the country that they're putting the tariffs on, but the consumer. And this is just an example of this happening.
Yeah, and it's not going to bring chip manufacturing back to the U.S.
It is not. All it's going to do is make it more pricey. And here's an example of it with Moog raising their prices in Europe up to 60% higher for some of their stuff.
Man, don't read the comments. It's almost like being on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
It's really out.
Never read comments on anything, really.
How to be miserable in 15 seconds.
Yeah, so chip shortages, resource shortages, all kinds of things are causing this, and we're going to start seeing this kind of thing a lot. Get used to it, folks. This is where we're at. I was kind of surprised that Apple didn't raise the prices of their new phones this time around. They easily could have.
Well, I think Apple's in a unique position in terms of leverage and resources.
They are not. It's really hard to get some of their stuff right now.
Yep. Oh, really?
Yeah. If you want like a one of the Studio Macs, with like more than just the baseline, you're looking about 2 months out right now.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So it's happening. It's happening to everybody. I still like the interesting story. I think it's Chevrolet with the truck that they have a recall for, but they don't have the parts to actually replace the recall.
Oh my gosh.
And it's like the windshield wiper system. So it's kind of a necessary thing, unless you live in the desert.
Not in California, it isn't.
Yeah, I was just saying, unless you live in Southern California.
Yeah. The Pacific Northwest, on the other hand, is definitely going to.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, unless you can use your wipers to wipe away smoke from California being on fire.
Right.
They're never getting rain again.
Yes. Torin Krell says buy gear now before substantial price increases, or hold on to your gear before and don't sell it yet because you might be able to get more for it.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hard to find.
If you're a shameless profiteer, that's definitely what you should do.
That's exactly why I'm holding on to some things that I'm planning to sell.
Same here. I know eventually someone will want to buy my TB3. Somebody will want to buy my drum brute. Because nothing else will be there, and I will charge extra for it.
Actually, I'm going to break into your house and steal your TB3 and see how long it takes for you to notice.
I was actually going to use it like the last Synthfest. I was just like, I put it out there. I'm like, I'm going to actually use this thing. And then I just couldn't use it. It was just so dumb. I just put it away.
And the funny thing is, I know someone who bought it and loves it.
Wow. Yeah, I do too. I do. I know some guy who I know a person who loves it, and it broke, and they bought another one because they loved it that much.
You should go break his.
So you can buy another one.
Buy yours.
From you.
I know, right? But yeah, I ended up because I was going to use it. I was going to use it on the Devil Vagina Music stream that I just did. But instead I put that away and put the Tetra on there instead, and the Tetra sounded so much better.
Apples and oranges.
Yeah, I know, but it still did a good job, and it did it. And I was using it for bass lines, and it sounded so much better.
Perfect.
So yeah, watch out, Moog, because everyone's angry that you're raising the prices. But you know what? Welcome to the world.
So Architect asked, are we looking at big synth price increases for new gear? So it depends on which company. If the gear is going to come out now, yes, because the chip costs are inflated right now because there's such demand over the same chips. And so it's hard to outbid a car company because cars are all going for above MSRP, which has never happened before. And it's so because there's such a shortage of new vehicles, they can, if they have to pay, like 10 times as much for the same chip, it doesn't matter because they're making so much more on that car. So but if you're using that same chip to make a synthesizer, you can't afford to that synth that you had said was going to come out for $400. You can't, sell that for $2,400. And then, once the chip prices go down, go back and sell it for $400. So I think companies like Behringer, they're waiting until they can get the chips affordably before they roll these things out, because they're already putting these things at a pretty thin margin. And if they raise the prices up, it's not. I have a feeling that there's going to be a backlash on it, especially because they'd previously announced pricing for them. So they're just waiting it out. But other companies that can't afford to sit and wait, they're going to have to increase their prices because their component costs are
right.
So Actitech was asking about ASM. ASM is actually a very interesting edge case. So Glenn Darcy talked about this. Where was it? Maybe it was at NAMM. But prior to the pandemic, there were signs of this chip shortage, and people who were I don't know, shrewd business people who had sort of seen the ebbs and flows before saw that there was something on the horizon. And then the pandemic hit, and Glenn Darcy essentially, fairly early on in the pandemic, realized that the chip shortage was going to hit ASM really hard, and they replatformed the entire synth.
Yeah.
And rebuilt it on a different. So the very early Hydra synths are on different chips than the current Hydra synths, and so they built it on a totally uncompeted for chipset. And so now the ASM is widely available, and other people's synths aren't. And the ASM shows no signs of being in chip competition. So I would say that one. I mean, there's components of it, like the Hydra synth uses a lot of steel in it, and steel prices and steel futures have gone way up. There's things in it that could be going up. The prices of resistors are going up. The prices of capacitors have been going up. There's all sorts of stuff that's going up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the price go up, but the kind of, I don't know, order of magnitude price increases that some things are seeing, I think are pretty unlikely to hit it.
Yeah.
And, the Moog stuff is all hand-built, right? So that's going to increase costs as well, especially with labor costs going up.
Well, yeah, and especially...
Whereas, other companies where they're using a lot of automated processes, or they're being manufactured in Southeast Asia, labor costs just aren't going up compared to American costs.
And I'm sure that because Moog also organized recently as well, the employees did. So I think that Moog might be, passing that on to people as well, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So, and you also notice a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about this show isn't exactly new hardware. A lot of this is, we're talking software, and we're talking firmware updates and that kind of thing, and updates and upgrades.
Like the Traction?
Indeed. Just like Traction, with their major update to their free DAW. This is a giveaway from us to you. You can get this DAW for free.
Free, we did it.
There you go.
Don't say we never
We're
done
giving this away for free. Thanks, Traction Software, for
Just
putting
for
out
you.
free software for us to give away for free. This is the Waveform Free, getting a major update. Cross-platform digital audio workstation. If you want the Waveform Pro, you got to pay for it, but we're giving away the Waveform Free for free. It's giving you inline MIDI and step-click access for speedy programming, a powerful rack environment for complex FX processing and sound design, and a variety of instruments, including a 4-oscillator synth, micro drum sampler, micro sampler, and a new Rompler. Brand new browser featuring tags and smart lists help manage vast sample libraries and locate your favorite plugins and instruments in a flash. You can get it for Linux, Mac, and Windows. So unless you're running Solaris, you can run this thing.
And finally, a story that applies to Zen Linux.
Exactly. There you go, Zen Linux. We love you. We hope you enjoy your copy of Waveform Free.
Now you don't have to use wine.
Right? But you'll still whine because you're a Linux user. And your Silicon graphics machines can't run it either.
Oh man, there goes my PDP-11 drinks right there.
I know. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
We're also giving away the Wave Super Tap Delay for free. Free. Thanks to our friends at, Waves, because Waves is the ones that are giving away for free. We're just letting you know about it as a news distribution. You can get this for free.
I mean, you have to give up your private
You
information.
do, and then of course, if you want to upgrade it,
But not money.
No, but you just give up your some of your personal information, and also if you use this thing and find it indispensable when they do the upgrade, then you're going to have to pay $80 for it, but it's free.
Oh man, I feel bad for even telling people that there's Wave stuff. Because you get stuck in Waves. Here, I'll give everybody something for free. It's almost 909 day. Here's a sample pack that I made of RD9 909 drums. It's a pretty good sample pack. Go make some 909 music.
There it is. It is a really good sounding 909 sound pack. I have it, and it sounds great, and it's free.
Happy 909 day.
There's a link. Get some stuff.
Yes.
And Womber will appreciate that Skinny Puppy's first album, Formation, was made with a 909 all over the place.
There you go.
In fact, they were the first commercial album to feature a 909.
It's true.
And that'll go up on the Roland website Saturday, I
Oh,
guess.
very cool.
Oh, nice.
Because that's how I found out they put it up on their website last year.
Oh, there you go. Cool. SynthLab is going to put those 909s on his deluge, as you should.
Nice. Well, I hope you enjoy them. That's not a one thing for anybody who wants to download that or who's on the fence about free stuff. I know it's hard to convince people. There's a lot of 909 kits that sound like very much like a 909, and this doesn't not sound like a 909, but it's 12-bit through the 2400, and also I didn't focus on trying to recreate like iconic 909 sounds, so it's not exactly that.
Perfect. So you think that we're done giving away stuff for free here?
Nope. Never.
You'd be wrong, because not only are we giving away all this stuff for free because some other company's giving it away for free and we're just letting you know that it's for free, but we're going to do it one more time, and that is for the 6th sample Cram It, an OTT-style multi-band compression plus distortion. It's a free plugin.
Free.
And we're giving it to you as well.
So OTT, I believe, stands for over the top. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right. And this plugin is based, I believe, on a distortion that was used in Serum. And has taken the world by storm, and people just love this distortion. And they released it as a free plugin. And then this one is based on that. It's a multi-band compressor, a distortion, a little bit more functionality, and it's costing you nothing.
And it's the 64-bit VST3 and AU plugin, and it runs on both M1 and Intel Macs and Windows.
Yep.
And it's, how much is it?
free 99.
Free!
And apparently it makes you more attractive.
And it makes you less gassy, unlike me right now. Oh, God.
Yeah.
What did I eat? So, yes, enjoy your free stuff from your friends here at Tangents. Don't say we never gave you anything. You ungrateful sons of bitches. Just kidding. We love you.
And we give such insightful analysis and news
It's true. It's
mostly every other week, nearly.
99% of the time, every other week. And we're also the only show on the internet.
Yeah. And definitely the only show on the internet that gives you this much free shit.
Oh, God, yeah. No one else gives us much free shit as this.
And here's like a free update. I mean, you've got to buy
It's
this.
true. I read that after I wrote it down.
Yeah.
But I mean, Sound Toys also, like, if you buy some stuff, you can have some free updates. Buy the old version and then update there's the free one and you get more.
Free. That's right. Sound Toys has updated its plugins with VST3 and Apple Silicon support. Thanks, guys. Apple Silicon's only been out for a couple years. VST3's only been out for a couple years.
Well, I think they just didn't need to. I mean, BST3 has had a slow embrace.
True.
Yeah.
Because people felt like, well, the feature's here. Why am I going to recode and recompile my plugins for this when my plugin already works and VST is still supported?
Right.
But so eventually they didn't get around to it, and I think Sound Toys probably engineers come and go, and so they don't get around to updating this kind of stuff because they've got these algorithms that they've been building on since the 80s.
Right.
But I guess something came up and they decided, all right, now's the time. So if anyone doesn't know, the people behind Sound Toys are previously Eventide programmers for the H3000 line. So some of their algorithms are the best in the world for music production. And they'd made a lot of the presets for H3000 and 3500 before spinning off into their own company.
Yeah, Sound Toys is good.
So yeah, it's really top tier algorithms. But for interfaces, maybe not as updated, and obviously not for supporting all the plugin formats until now.
Until now.
But if it was Waves, they wouldn't be giving you these updates to different formats for free. They'd be making you buy them all over again.
And you'd have to sit through a pitch video for Chris Lord Alge. For the privilege.
Yeah, where you can see Cameo still in the corner.
So yeah, there you go. Get that taken care of, folks. If you already have Sound Toys, now you can get the upgrade for free.
Yeah, I agree with that, Zen Linux. Anything that's at this day and age, if it's got an iLock on it, I'm not going to buy it. I don't care what it is. There's just too much stuff that's good. I just won't put up with the hassle.
Yeah, it irritates me. I only have like one thing that has iLock, and that's PSP.
Me too.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I have a lot of iLock stuff, but at least I'm using the software version of it, not the stupid dongle anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad I don't have to use any dongles anymore.
Same.
The first dongle I had was for Reactor 3, and that turned into a nightmare because then a cracked version of Reactor came out. And the people using the cracked version could read both the dongle and non-dongle versions, whereas me as a dongle user couldn't read like lots of files that were getting shared. So the pirated version was actually more powerful. So they dumped it.
That's garbage.
Yep. And also I had to insure the dongle because if something happened to it, I would have to buy it again.
I just like saying dongle.
And it's actually the reason why I abandoned Cubase was the dongle as well.
Understandable.
Yeah, it was Steinberg's little dongle. I know, because you could use... I thought you could store iLock stuff on it, too. It was, like, interchangeable.
It might have been.
I could be wrong about that.
I don't know. I never got the Cubase dongle because once they started using the dongles, like I didn't have the USB ports. USB was unreliable in Windows at the time. I was like, never mind, I'm not using this.
A lot of people walked away from that because of that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, dongles are just stupid.
Yeah, I think it really pushed everybody towards Ableton.
Yeah. So, Christoph, what are you doing this weekend?
Working on my motorcycle.
Do you know what else you can do this weekend?
Dongle.
I could go to Neemfest 2022.
That's right. You could.
And yeah.
You could dong there.
In beautiful Homer, New York.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
So actually, I've taken a picture in front of the sign for Homer, New York, because the name is Homer. And it turns out I've met people that are from there, so it's a real town where people actually
Look at
live.
that. And not only do people live there, but apparently there's a synthesizer festival. An electronic
and
music
that's
festival.
And it is so much closer than NobCon.
But
for
not
me.
as fun
And
because
it's only $15.
it won't be as fun
And,
because it won't have me, you won't have Justin, you won't have Robin there.
Yep, it will not be.
Or
as
your
fun. But
opponent.
it's okay because I'm against fun anyway.
Or your opponent, or Wambra. Wambra will be at NobCon.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I hate techno, and remember how techno people took
Yes.
ecstasy, whereas industrial people we take agony. So I'm against it. And I just want to go and have a miserable time. You know, I'm running into problems with my motorcycle. If I get it running, I might go to this weekend. But right now, it's not. It wouldn't start today, and I'm having to take it apart. So I think
There's
I
a
have feeling
synth
it's
petting
not gonna
zoo.
happen. But if you're, within a couple 100 miles of Homer, New York, this is something you should consider
Yes.
going to.
Absolutely. $15 is a good deal. Goggy177, you may be, that's fascinating. You're a Swedish rapper. I wish you all the luck in the world. This is not really the show that we rate songs. I would recommend, however, if you want to, you can join the Golden Shrimp Guild, and they'll help you out getting started in live streaming your songs instead. I don't know why my timer's not working.
I will rate songs. I hate everything though.
There is that.
Almost everything.
I don't even like my own music.
Yeah,
I do
know.
hate most music too.
Yeah, I do too.
That's why I would never want to work in music, because then I would have to listen to music I don't like.
Right.
I might accidentally hear my own or something. It would just be terrible.
I listen to my own music. That's about it.
You must be into industrial because you like agony.
That's true.
Tish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, GOG177, are you a bot?
You just walk into an industrial club. Somebody hits you in the shin with a pipe, and they're like, "All right, go in."
Yeah.
Goj177, this is not how you promote yourself. Please, if you continue doing this, I'm just gonna. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. All right. Good luck to you. Love you lots, but you can probably go somewhere else with that, huh? Bye.
Pew! It's a whole next level.
I think that's the first time we've banned somebody that wasn't a bot.
I think so. I think that was the first human that we've banned.
38 shows in. That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of Swedish rapping, and buying our mixtape.
It's Bo Beat.
Exactly. It was Bo Beans. Oh, poor Bo Beans.
Did we just kick Espen Kraft?
I think so. So Tractor Pro has an add-on version with its latest update, a subscription model they're moving over to. As a version 3.6, you can get new features and functionality on a subscription basis.
Yeah. Well, it's not important. Is that you can still get you've bought it and you can use it forever version.
Yes, for now.
But if you want these new extra features, then you have to subscribe.
Right.
So I was worried that I would lose my functionality, and I have not.
Right. Same here. Mm-hmm.
And I don't have to. Start subscribing to keep getting Tractor. And to be honest, I didn't want to upgrade to version 3. I was happy with 2, and I kind of regret moving up to version 3 because the functionality it added, which was real-time key changing, I don't use because I play industrial music.
Yeah, same.
And the processor hit that I took was so severe that I can't do anything else with my laptop when I'm running Tractor.
Yeah.
And even then, sometimes it gets a little skippy.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I would go back to Tractor 2. So the new functionality they're offering isn't any of the functionality that I want, and it's not the functionality everybody's been screaming for years. Mm-hmm. But that functionality, they say, is on the roadmap and is coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that the important thing is for people to understand is that, and I do like that, like what you're saying, is that this is like they're doing these plugins basically from the Soundwide merger that they're putting into this package. And if you are a Traktor user who relies on plugins, then yeah, you might want to look into doing this kind of thing. When I DJ, I'm never touching any of those. Like I don't put any effects on a goddamn thing. I just play the music and that's about it.
Whereas, and I do actually. I love the plugins, and they are adding some of the those new Isotope plugins. So that is handy. It's not enough for me to go buy it. If the one thing that I've wanted that other DJ software has that Traktor doesn't is the real-time stem creation. Or even if they gave me an offline stem creation tool, I would take that, because Algorithm DJ has it, Virtual DJ has it. I don't think Serato has it yet, but Traktor does not. So I would like to see that, and I think that's going to be coming, and it'll only be coming to the subscription model. And I would pay for it.
Yeah. And I mean, everything's going subscription. Some people like it, some people don't. It is a great way to make sure that your business stays relevant and stays afloat. I think that in the chat, I say that like Jeff, you're mentioning that like Adobe did subscription pretty well. I 80% agree with you on that.
Well, it was so expensive. I mean, like if you were looking at the Creative Suite, if you were originally going to buy like Photoshop and Illustrator or InDesign, it was a couple $1,000 to get the pro level software for everything. So taking that down to $20 a month made it accessible to people.
Yes,
and
it did.
So that's really what I'm referring to. I think things that are like Traktor. What was Traktor? I don't know. I think I bought Traktor years of.
It's $100.
Well,
and once a year it goes on sale or a couple times a year usually goes on sale for $50.
Yeah. So
it's a good deal. It's a lot cheaper than Virtual DJ, which I think goes for $200.
Yeah.
And Serato's also expensive. But I will say, so although I'm against subscription models, I don't have a problem with the way Traktor is doing it, because they're not discontinuing the paid version and replacing with a subscription. You can have either one, and if you don't do the subscription, you're just not getting these new features. They do say some of the new features will eventually get rolled in to the paid, the paid version instead of the subscription model. I don't know what to call it. We'll say static paid version.
It's kind of like how Reason's doing it and how Studio One is doing it right now as well, where it's like you have that option of a subscription, or you can just buy it outright and then it's yours.
So so some of the functions will get rolled in, and some of them will always be subscription only, and that's fine, But yeah, I'm sure if they had something I really wanted, I'd want to be able to just buy it. Just go to version 4 of the software and let me pay for it.
Right, or let me buy the plugin separately.
But still, I'm totally okay with them doing it this way, because you can still get both versions. And Traktor's really affordable, really a bargain, and it's really powerful. It's unique in the way it does a lot of things compared to the other DJ software. I'm not saying it's better than the other ones, because I don't use the other ones, because I've been using Traktor since it was in beta and it was first. And you get married to a platform. But there's things I can do with it that I know other people can't do, and so it's more of an instrument to me than just a DJ thing. So I like it, but there's things it's lacking that I really wish it had. None of those things are being introduced in any of the things that they're announcing, but things that other people are looking for will be in these versions. But yeah, I was really worried about them going to subscription model, and the way they're doing it, I'm not. I'm totally fine with it, and that's great, because when companies go to subscription models, everybody hates it, and it makes customers really mad. Unless you're a professional where you can pay to, you can afford these fees, every month. But for me, paying a fee for Photoshop, well, there might be 4 months where I don't use Photoshop. I'm not going to pay for. I don't want to pay and unpay. I don't want to think about if I make this edit, is it worth me paying a month of subscription fee for it? And I don't want to do it, and that's why I switched to GIMP.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I personally can't.
It depends on who you are and what you're.
I can't stand the Adobe model, because even though that you are paying them a monthly subscription fee, a lot of the Adobe stuff that I'm working with is with small companies and stuff like that, and the admin system that they put in for adminning your Adobe subscription is beyond useless. They might as well not exist because it's just dumb. And it's like, oh look, I can see a list of licenses I have, and that's all I can do.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. So I think it's that part's that's the part that's garbage, and then that's the part that they should fix. I don't care about anything else. I just can't admin the goddamn thing. So.
Yeah, and Torrent Girl's right. So with Pro Tools, they really burned their user base by going full subscription.
Yeah, it was.
You know, and so Ken Marshall, who just went on his channel from doing weekly updates to monthly, he's railed about this a lot of times because what he likes to do is he likes to freeze a system and just be able to come back to it years later if he wants to open up old things. And he just buys new plugins and all that so that all of his licensing is intact and he doesn't have to move anything. So he can fire up an old computer. And he can't do that with the Pro Tools anymore because of the way it has the subscription model.
He's a hardcore Pro Tools user.
Yep. And it really burns his user base. And just give people an option to pay a ridiculous amount for your product again.
Because that was working too.
They'll pay $1,500. He's a professional. He can write it off.
I have similar issues with like phone home apps because there are ones that you buy the product, but the licensing is like a phone home model. And
I've had problems with that on a cruise ship. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times. Also, I mean, a lot of places I go, I don't have internet access, especially for DJing.
Yeah, and you shouldn't need to.
And a lot of clubs, there's no internet. So it's dangerous. You never know when it's going to pop up and say, "Oh, I need to do this right now." Like, well, I guess the show's canceled.
Yeah.
Like I just wrote yesterday about somebody whose DJ set got cut off because Windows 10 decided to do an update during their set.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's hideous.
Well, you can turn that shit off though, can't you?
Not on Windows 10. What you have to do is you have to just stay on top of when you do your updates.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I always make sure I'm updated before I have a gig.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it might come up during the set.
I didn't check and see if I needed to update this Windows box beforehand.
Hey, you know what else got updated?
Was that the Mega FM?
There's so much news.
Oh my God, Mega FM 2, ladies and gentlemen.
But there's a lot of news.
There is. Woo! Mega FM 2, everyone's favorite
Way down news.
Sega sounding ass FM synthesizer, is now up.
The original Mega FM was, I thought, very good sounding, and I almost bought one before I had got the op sticks. The thing that got me to not buy the original Mega FM was that the reviews of it, and people were talking, not even just reviews, but people were talking generally, like the build quality was apparently very inconsistent.
Because I know a few people that did get the Mega FM, they really did like it. I thought, Robin, you're in here somewhere. Don't you have a Mega FM? I could have sworn you might have gotten one at some point. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Upset.
We talked about it when it first came out because I remember we were all nerding on the Sega Genesis sort of connection there.
Yeah. Got a very good sound. I would love one.
Yeah.
The keyboard on the Mega FM is better than the keyboard on the Op 6.
Yeah, I like that, but the keyboard on the Mega FM looks fantastic in that it doesn't fucking exist, which is great.
Still better feeling to play than the Op 6.
Absolutely. The Mega FM 2 remains the same as the Mark I version, both in terms of appearance and core functions. It has 2 chips that offer each 6 voices of crispy FM with 4 operators per voice and 8 algorithms. So you get 12 voices of dirty FM goodness spread across 2 outputs or summed to 1. So what's new? Has a different chip pair. These are 2 Yamaha YM3438 chips are installed, which is a variant of the YM2612 that was inside the Mark I. They also updated the circuit layout, so the chips are now socketed, which really means you can swap them. Like literally there's a little flap in the bottom of the case that you can swap the chips out if you want to. So you can get the Mark I's in there if you want, or you can, shove another alternate vintage FM chip in there as well if you're feeling dirty. Yeah, so that's kind of fun.
Yeah, if I was a chiptune
This
person,
is-
this should be on high on my list.
Yes, absolutely. It's
And I think that's exactly who this
Oh,
is
God, yes.
targeted for.
Oh,
the
yeah.
chiptune people. And they know the differences of those early Yamaha
Mhm.
4-up FM chips, and the way that you exploit them, and they have uniqueness to them, and digital emulation never
Yes.
gets it right.
which is kind of funny in a weird way, isn't it?
Yep.
It's true.
Well, because although they're digital, they're still using other aspects of them
Oh,
that
yeah.
are analog, or they exploit problems with the chips in
Oh, yeah.
creating
Right.
sound.
Dream Cadaver says, dude,
Because
playing
the
a
people
Genesis
that-
hooked to a good sound system sounds so good. Well, the Mega FM is that and more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it. I've seen. I can't remember if Jeff came with me because he went to a couple festivals in New York with circuit bending, but I also went to some that were 8-bit festivals, and they had one band that had a Sega, and it sounded incredible. So yeah,
Just for playing
Yeah.
Altered Beast anymore, kids.
Rise
I
from the
brought
dead.
the most controversial love-hated Sega game of all time.
True.
The Sega Genesis sound card to me has a sound that is reminiscent of what if the SP1200 did FM. Like it's got that same sort of like low bit grit with it.
yeah, because it's got noise to it, and it doesn't have a lot of a dynamic range.
Yes. So that's it. The Mega FM2 announced. We'll see when it comes out. What else is coming out? Is the Sample Logic Synth AI plugin.
I believe that it's pronounced Synthe.
Synthe?
It's not.
I thought it was Synthi.
Might be. I've heard of both.
Might be. Synthe, Synthi, Synthe,
is a-
Synthei.
If it was
Synthe.
Canadian, it would be Synthe.
Oh, it's actually spelled luxury yacht, but it's pronounced throat wobbler mangrove. Okay, all your obscure Monty Python fans will get that.
So the marketing vomit that they put on the website calls this a modern fusion of cinematic synthesis, multi-sampled analog, digital, modern, and vintage instruments brought to life through motion, expression, and sequencing.
I believe none of them.
Good Jesus, it's the most. Yeah.
I think it's just clever algorithms. I don't think there's any artificial
Yes.
intelligence in this.
Yeah, well, that's the funny thing is I was looking the same way, Christoph. I do a little work with machine learning, so I started digging into it, and I'm like, oh, animated intelligence. So they're like squatting on that action.
Yes.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait a minute,
It's not intelligence. It might be animated,
Yeah,
but you're just doing
Well-
clever modulation
it's just a lot.
with a little bit of
It's
function.
a lot of marketing hyperbole. It sounds good. I
It's-
just, it
Yeah.
offends my intelligence when people try to sell me happy horseshit like that a little bit.
So I
Me too. And I will say, it does sound
Yeah.
good, but I'm so pissed off.
okay. So really quick, folks.
out of
Just really
spite.
quick, folks. Here's something to point out, and you really gotta kind of dig down and up until the very bottom of the website where it says that this requires a full paid version of Contact to use.
Dope.
Well, I have that.
Yeah,
It's
but
the content where it's all that it is.
As long as I don't need a Mac.
it's like all the way down to the bottom that they mentioned that. It's like some like poor dude's gonna be like, oh, this is gonna be so cool, and they buy it, and it's like, nope, you gotta own Contact first, asshole. Fuck off.
Yeah. That's got quite a
Yeah.
cost to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, $150 is the intro price. It's usually $250.
I mean,
Yeah, I know.
Contact
I know.
costs a
So
lot,
like,
too.
and then you have to have Contact on top of that.
Yep. It sounds
Yeah.
very good. And the thing that I thought was interesting about it is that there are 3 people who I have a lot of musical respect for. who are sort of endorsing it, and that's Jean-Michel Jarre,
Right.
Jordan Rudess,
Right.
and Amin Djawadi.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of what got my attention. So everybody knows, I think everybody here knows who Jean-Michel Jarre is. Everybody who's listening on, I know everybody here does, who I'm talking to.
Oh yeah.
Jordan Rudess, of course, keyboardist of Dream Theater, who's like an insanely good keyboardist. And then Ramin Djawadi is a composer. He did the music for Game of Thrones and other things. But he's very, very good. So.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's good. I mean, the samples I heard of it sounded really good. I would say that, no offense to Jordan Rudess, who's actually, you're right, he's an amazing player. He's also kind of internet infamous for basically flogging whatever, man.
Yeah, for sure. He will definitely do that. Definitely do that.
Yeah. Yeah, if there's something with a key bed on it, he's going to be sitting there going for like 10 minutes saying, this is such a cool synth.
Come on, it's prog rock. Prog rock of the future.
Yes.
I can't say anything mad at
Faster,
stuff that
faster.
curse while you
Less coherent.
Make it longer. Anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah,
harp solo.
if you've got a copy of Contact, then you can get this thing. Otherwise, okay, whatever. Otherwise, save up your money and get this Mercury plugin from Spitfire Audio, a cinematic sound design instrument based on sound sculptures. And by that, we mean space truck horns.
Aliens.
Space truck horns.
Yeah, it makes the noises from Dune.
Yeah, like I said.
I do like space truck horns, I'll be honest.
It's space truck horns. That's what it makes.
I'm a sucker for that Vangelis Hans Zimmer sound.
I love Vangelis, and he did not make the space truck horn sounds that fucking Hans Zimmer makes. Yeah. And Hans Zimmer, that's...
Well, I know that you and I disagree because I love the Inception soundtrack, which may be where the truck horn started.
It may be, but...
And
which
so he gets a pass for me.
Inception.
Which soundtrack?
Inception soundtrack by Hans Zimmer.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorite soundtracks of all time, and whereas Andrew finds it derivative of his Batman work.
Yes. I'm going to ruin this movie by making this space truck horn sound.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Hans Zimmer ruined the second Blade Runner movie.
Totally bought it. Wait, Hans
Zimmer ruined the second Blade Runner movie.
No, Ryan Gosling.
Well, I think they got together and ruined it, really.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Gosling was fine. It was the story.
Yeah, I mean, it's a terrible script. And the funny thing is, the original screenwriter was the same person that wrote the original.
But he hasn't written much
adaptation.
since, and he was way out of practice, I'm guessing.
Or a committee came in and rewrote it, and as ghostwriters, because it's terrible. It's a terrible story.
Yeah, I think that. I think
that's why Ridley Scott bailed.
Yeah.
I
mean, it wasn't a scheduling conflict. It's like, oh, this is unfixable. I'm not getting my name on this.
My schedule got very full.
Someone else fall on this sword.
Very busy now.
And he made that Aliens prequel movie, and that was pretty terrible.
Yeah, and he thought that was going to make money, but I think he knew this Blade Runner movie was going to fail hard. When you fail hard, your deals fall through.
Yeah.
And so he knew this was going to be terrible, so he walked away from that. And
which is so funny because the first Blade Runner failed hard in the box office.
Yeah, it did.
It did. But in that movie, the music was a character in that movie, and this one it was a caricature of the movie, and I think that was a big thing. And I will always say that somewhere maybe there is a lost recording of Johan Johansson's Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack.
We should just ask him for
Well,
it.
he's dead. He killed himself right after he got kicked off of the movie.
All right.
So, but I'd be very curious.
Do you know a necromancer?
I know a few. Funny story, but yeah, I've because his soundtrack to what was the name of that movie? Arrival was really cool.
Yeah,
and that was
a great movie.
And how he
same director.
Yeah, same director.
I mean,
yeah.
I thought that Denis Villeneuve was going to rock Blade Runner because I love that movie so much.
Yeah. And And you know, once I saw Blade Runner and I saw that he was going to do Dune, I realized it wasn't going to be very good. So
you didn't like the new Dune movie either?
Dune's not one of those movies you can make.
All right. So, and did Hans Zimmer ruin it for you?
Hans Zimmer didn't make it any better. Hans Zimmer's space truck sounds, and I couldn't tell what was the soundtrack and what was the sound effects kind of thing.
Well, the most amazing thing in that was there was a scene where they're doing the rescue, and they're yelling, and I wanted them to say, "I can't hear you over the music."
Yeah, exactly, because it's like
it's so loud. Yeah.
Tell that asshole to turn off the space truck horn. Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a Nolan moment.
It was. So yeah, it was. I'm sorry. I'm probably way off track here, but yeah.
Off on the tangent.
We did, in fact. So the Spitfire Audio Mercury sample pack, if you want space truck horns and want to sound like Hans Zimmer, this is for you.
Well, they did actually use a lot of weird instruments on Dune. I've actually watched videos from a guy who played a weird flute. And he's a Behringer user, and he's really talented, and he did all these recordings for it. So I know that, you know, even if you don't like it, you know, Hans Zimmer does continually push new ground and experiment a lot.
Sure.
So, you know, somebody inspired, you know, by that work could create some very interesting and unique instruments that could help you stand out. So that's your thing. This is worth picking up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's pushed further into the sound of the French horn than Hans Zimmer.
It's true. I like that. I think Spitfire came out with like a sample pack of like, it was like Hans Zimmer strings, and I think I redid it where it just said, "Oops, all French horns." Apparently, Dream Cadaver likes it's not one of those movies you can make. You can't make a movie out of Dune. I'm sorry. It's like trying to make a movie out of. I mean, they've made movies out of Dune, but they haven't been really. There's just too much in Dune that you can't really put on film.
Is it like Dancing About Architecture?
Yeah, kinda. It's kind of like if you took the actual book Naked Lunch and tried to put the contents of it onto film. You could not do that very easily.
Yeah.
You know, whereas
the way Cronenberg did it.
Cronenberg
very
did it masterfully.
Yeah.
By not making it.
Integrating the author into
Exactly. That was a fantastic movie.
That author was Steiner Synthicon, wasn't it? I think that was the author.
Oh, speaking of that, don't they have something that we can pre-order?
I think you might be right. And that is the Steiner Synthicon. Look at this, a new piece of hardware in the year of our Lord 2022. That is a reproduction of a piece of gear that came out a long time ago.
And not from Behringer.
And no, it's not from Behringer, which is even crazier, which might also explain the $3,000 price tag.
Yeah. Because it's probably component-based, and components are more expensive.
That's true. They are.
And require, usually hand manufacture.
Yes.
This thing is delightfully boutique. I mean, it's like in the best sense of the word, though. I mean, look at this thing.
It is beautiful. Yeah. It is. I love the handle on top of it. I love that it looks like it probably weighs 80 pounds and will cut into your hand as you walk around with it.
Oh, those toggle switches, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that this synth is the most famous for is its Steiner Parker filter.
Yes, it is.
Which you can get on Arturia gear, and not spend.
Yeah, and that's where they got it from. They got it from this synth. So the synth is a legend, and it's weird. Nothing else is going to sound like it except for Arturia's stuff, maybe.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know who is going to buy this synth, but it's probably like Gabe Newell, or the Bad Robot guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
J.J. Abrams. He could have done.
Yeah, he'll probably buy one of those too. But yeah, it looks neat. It sounds like it sounds weird. Yeah, if you got $3,000 laying around and you want a piece of history.
On the upside, because it is component based, if it breaks in 40 years, if you can get components, you'll be able to get it fixed.
Yes.
Chips, you're not going to get in 40 years.
Right. Exactly. We'll be by that point. We'll be making music with sticks and stones again.
I'll be dead. Hell.
Well, that's the spirit.
Yeah.
If you keep up with that attitude, you will be, young man.
Yeah.
It does sound good. Sounds like big, beefy, and very metallic. And
I love it. I think it sounds fantastic. If I had $3,000 laying around,
They should probably give us one.
I think so. We can split it between the four of us.
No, they should make us fight over it. Thunderdome.
Fight to the death.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
sorry.
the whole purpose of giving it to us.
Just so we can fight to the death. Well, you said you were going to die soon, so you'll lose.
Yes. Yeah, I'll just tap out. You get.
That's cool.
This is turning into some kind of Black Mirror episode. I like
Yeah,
it.
It don't matter.
That's cool.
None of this matters.
You're so positive.
I was quoting Carl.
I know.
I love how hopeless he was. It don't matter.
It don't matter.
None of
It
this
doesn't
matters.
Speaking of things that don't matter, Roland is
To you.
Roland has released the new firmware update for the TR8S, as well
And
as the
the
TR6S for those with smaller
And I gotta
fingers.
say, people love this.
Yes, the TR8S is has become kind of a modern classic for Roland, a rare shot out into the whatever sports analogy I'm trying to make. That means that it was a hit,
Yes, a home run.
a hole in touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Goal.
Yay!
I mean, I currently own an 8S. I actually owned the original TR8, I guess 2014-ish, whenever it came out. And that's kind of become a classic in itself. I'd say it's more limited, but it's really not per function easy. The 8S is way better, way more capable, but it's not quite MC707 menu divey, but it's menu divey, you know.
And with
So
the
I
functionality
haven't-
that they're adding, of course, it's menu diving.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just,
I haven't put
They
this-
added FM.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There was an FM.
Programmable FM now.
They just made it more robust, and I haven't installed the new firmware yet, but I've watched a bunch of demos of it, and yeah, it actually sounds pretty cool.
And
I mean,
it's
it's
got,
interesting.
go
What's
ahead.
that?
Sorry,
You
go
know,
ahead.
Analog Rhythm also has FM capabilities.
Yep.
So that's kind of interesting.
Well, actually, and I think that's exactly. I think they're like taking functionality from competitors and implementing them into their device.
Yeah.
And this is so rare for Roland not to just abandon a product after they've sold it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So, like, I really have to support it. It's like, wait, you're updating something?
And you're not charging for the update too, which is also kind of mind
Yeah.
blowing.
So, who are you?
Well, I
So
think it's
that's
consistent.
really amazing.
Consistent with the chip shortage issues, right? I mean, how are
Yeah.
you going to make money if you can't source?
Yeah. So
And
it's the value added stuff that that we've been talking about that's coming around now.
it's got feature probability and master probability. And I know one of the sequencers that Jeff's been using lately on his streams has these functionalities. And it can be really used for like making generative stuff that's interesting. And it's just something that really hasn't been in Roland equipment before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I know people like I have a friend in LA. His name's Dre. He's in a lot of big famous bands, and he brought this to work with him and was just making kits and beats with it all night, and just loves it.
It's good stuff.
So, yeah, it's great that it is update. And
Well,
that,
it's funny,
Yes.
Andrew, because the probability and the and some of that stuff. I mean, it's literally a rip from Electron, like 100%.
Oh, God,
absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they found, but they also have this sort of sub probability, which is kind of neat too. So that like you can actually tell it, hey, do this weird thing only now, and I don't know. So they've kind of integrated parameter locking with that. It's kind of weird. It's cool though.
I think what's interesting, like there's a probability feature that Electron has that no one else does, and I'm not sure why this is the case, because to me it makes that probability thing like even that crazier and more useful and more handy, and that is like they do the if-then probability. And no one else does if-then probability. So basically, to explain, like, it will do a thing where, like, if this note is triggered, then this note shouldn't be triggered, and vice versa. So if you have like one note that has like a probability of like, you know, it's like gonna play every 40%, then if that one plays, then this one won't play.
So it's use a programming language to do side chaining.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, but also you can do that with fills too. Like if I hold down the fill button, then play these notes. But also if I hold down the fill button, don't play these triggers.
Yeah.
So it will turn those things off and on. So it's handy as hell.
I think Electron, and this is just my humble opinion, and I haven't used all the cool standalone sequencers that you have, Jeff, but I absolutely love the Electron workflow. I just love it. It's not for everybody, I get it.
Yeah, actually, there's an artist used to be in New York and now she lives in Berlin, and her studio is like 3/4 Electron. She has like all the electrons.
Wow.
Who's that?
Madon.
Oh yeah.
So she's like me.
Well, she's got.
Except she's talented.
than you, though.
She's talented, unlike me. I think the only
You're
things.
very talented. You've written some of my favorite songs of the last 20 years.
Aw,
So
that's awfully sweet.
yeah, I love Brand New Day, and I love that Plasma Sleep track that I played on Spy Club a few times.
Plasma Blackout. Plasma Blackout.
That's what I meant.
Plasma Sleep is a form of
I'm having a
song.
stroke. Give me a minute.
That's cool. How's the
It
toe
is a
smell?
former Tiger song. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I blacked out on that. What was it?
The Plasma Sleep's a form of Tadra song.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, I think the only thing that I don't have from Electrons here is a SID station and a machine drum. I think
We used to have a machine drum.
we did. Yeah.
So no longer.
Yes. Oh, and I don't have any of those model crap because they're terrible.
Yeah, I used to know someone who thought like their whole life would change if they had this SID station, and I have doubts.
Me too. don't really feel like I need one.
Depends what you mean by life changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that interesting of a synth.
Agree.
Well, you would then have one in your life, so I mean, it would change.
True.
It would. You could unplug your Commodore 64 and go DAW-less.
Yeah, sadly, I never had the Commodore 64. The Apple IIe was the last Apple computer I owned.
Nice.
Oh, I made.
And the Commodore 64 is definitely the better computer.
I would tend to agree.
I made a bunch of, what are these things called? Emotes. I used the trash can appropriately at the time.
I see this.
For something. I made that one, but I also made this one. It's very hard to see. It's my no computer DAW-less.
All right.
Nice.
Very nice.
Hey, there's some real good, some really excellent emotes. You can just subscribe.
Subscribe to Jeff.
That's awesome, Torrin Krell. He still has an Apple IIe and a Commodore 64.
There you go.
So, all right. I still have my Apple IIe as well. I don't know if the floppies still work. I haven't turned it on in a decade. But leave me your Commodore 64 in your will. And then outlive me so it doesn't matter.
Well, my robots are not working at all tonight.
That's okay. Nobody should follow me. It's a mistake.
Everyone should follow the Cat Mansion because he's a lot of fun to watch. All right.
Oh, you know what it is? You haven't made Streamlabs a moderator, so your comments can't.
I did a number of times. Apparently, I need to do it every once in a while to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's the thing to do is you have to go into Streamlabs. There's a slider that they turn on and off in the CloudBot.
Oh, that's irritating.
And I have to do it like every month. I have to turn it back on.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yep.
Well, it won't happen this show because I'm already distracted enough by being tired.
Yes. So on my old laptop, if I opened up Streamlabs, it would cause my DJ software to stop for a second because that's how picky Tractor is. Or Tractor 3 is. Tractor 2 would have been fine. Tractor 2 said, "Go ahead, load the page. You want a beer?" But Tractor 3,
I'm gonna cry.
Stop the music. Yeah.
And speaking of crying, Arturia has released the Dist Cold Fire Dual Distortion plugin. And we're giving it away for not free. We're not giving it away at all, really.
Giving away the link. The link is free.
The link is free. The plugin is $99.
It's got a free demo.
You can download the demo for free and see if you like it enough to use it on a track. Dual engine distortion. You can make it sound nice. You can make it sound wretched. You know, it's distortion. It sounds cool. I'm not going to pay for $99 for it, but it sounds cool.
And it has a lot of modulation options. So that's important. You know, I guess if you don't have any distortions, this is something to look at. You know, if you need a good one. But you probably already have a ton.
Yeah, I listen to it. I own all the Arturia stuff because that's just how bad I am. But I'm probably not going to buy this because I use the OTO Biscuit plugin, and I think that thing is between that and the Analog Heat. I'm good.
Yeah, the Analog Heat is a wonderful sounding distortion.
Yeah, when I really want to distort something, I pull up one of my mixers and just slam stuff into the preamp really hard. That's usually what I do because the Allen and Heath Mix Wizard preamps sound amazing, and despite having a very expensive distortion pedal, just blowing up the preamp sounds better.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, Torda, I'll agree. I mean, especially for guitar, my favorite distortions are still analog pedals. You know, Jeff will roll his eyes at this, but I have some Boss pedals like the MT2 and the HM2 that I absolutely love.
I love Boss pedals. Boss is...
Yeah, but I know that that Metal Zone pedal is a cliche. Don't give a shit. I love the fucking way it sounds.
Way. The metal...
Especially putting synths through it.
It's a great pedal.
It depends. Also, it really depends on what kind of thing you're distorting. Like, those pedals aren't great for drum distortion. And, you know, Jeff was talking about, you know, smashing your mixer. And I can tell you what mixer you don't want to distort, which is the Mackie. So those Mackie mixers, when you hit them, it is because they're built so that they won't distort. And so it's like once it gets to the point where it will distort, it's just insanely terrible. Yeah. It's unusably just noise. It's like FM distortion bad.
Yeah.
So where, like, you know, when you're tweaking FM, it's like, oh, good sweet spot, unusable. And it's like one over. So like that distortion's terrible. Like Tascam distortion is great. Lots of other distortions are great, but not that Mackie though.
But you know what can fix that broken down noise is Isotopes RX.
You're absolutely right, my friend.
Which is another link that we're giving you for free.
Here's a free link to the release of RX10, which is now available. They have updated it so it is compatible with Apple Silicon. A lot of the stuff that they've seemed to have put into here, especially like in the advanced version of it, seems to be more for podcasting and newscasting, and a lot of, like, you know, this show could probably do well with RX10 running in here to make our voices not sound terrible.
Yeah,
but that might just be more of our lack of vocal talent than anything else.
I really like RX. It's the one I use RX and Neutron a decent amount. Or not Neutron, Nectar. Sorry. I bought I have the high end version of the Isotope package, and really the only two things I've ever used from it. But RX is crazy good.
Yeah, it really is.
I've used it most. I've used it some for field recording, but my primary use of RX has always been for like sound for picture and for broadcast, because I do like a lot of work for TV commercials and things, and is really, really useful for that, especially for on-location recordings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely has. Your opponent said it is pricey, and it does have professional pricing.
Yes.
But it also produces professional results.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's works money, then who cares?
Right.
And what you're getting here is valuable. To do this work without a tool like this is very labor intensive. And like the standard version of this is 300. And, just cleaning up an hour of audio that has all these problems without these tools, you're easily going to burn up 10 hours, which is the cost of this tool. I've had to, the cardinal sin you can make in recording film dialogue is to distort. Everything else, there's tricks you can clean, but if you overmodulate, it's a nightmare to clean up. And when you have tools that can pick up, if it's just a little bit of clipping here and there, to have tools that'll clean that up for you, so you don't have to and I've done this where I've opened up waveforms and had to redraw them so they no longer clip and spike. Same here. Oh, it's so labor intensive, and it usually happens on P's and S's where there wasn't a windshield on a mic. It's just a nightmare to do. So this isn't for everybody, but it's for professionals who need to do professional work, and if you're an amateur, then you probably just have to re-record it again, and you can. But in pro work, a lot of the times you can't. The actor isn't there anymore, or the situation hasn't happened. And a tool like this, with the time it saves you, it pays for itself. But I understand it's not for everybody. But they do have an Elements version that's only $100,
which is also very good still, and will do so. It's really good at removing noise and hum and hiss. The Elements version. The Elements version of RX is very targeted towards people who have low quality microphones.
Right.
It's basically like, you have a cheap microphone, we got you, fam. And then the high end version of it does a lot more. It's really good.
Well, that's interesting about Splitter. Your opponent, if you could send us a link in a whisper, that'd be great. Because if you post it in the chat, we'll just see asterisks and we'll never know what it was.
Yeah, your opponent, you missed it. We did just give away RX10 link for free.
Jesus Christ! Yes, we did.
And now we're gonna give away Complete 14 link for free.
Yes, Complete 14 was released today.
No,
it was announced today. They haven't released it. They're going to probably release it maybe starting next week, because they are also the standard version is also going to be including Ozone 10 from Isotope, because they're all one big happy family nowadays.
Yeah, and they're going to be incorporating some of the Isotope products in Complete.
Yes.
And that's great.
Interesting.
They're also going to be introducing some other products from BrainWorks. And that's exciting for me. Because one of those is an Oberheim SEM clone that Junkie XL said was fantastic. So I am still using, I think, Complete 11, and I didn't have any reason to upgrade to 12 or 13. Give me a reason to upgrade. Because, I've heard great things about that SEM. Because otherwise, you're only getting a couple things with 14. As far as I can tell, the only main product that they upgraded was Contact. There'll be a new version of Contact, and I don't care. So it's like, just play my samples on the keys that I asked you to, and the rest of it, you're just annoying me now. I don't care. But they're introduced. But what they have done, though, is they've created a development environment, and that's really what Contact has become. It has so much power that everybody makes these libraries that do all these weird things, because it's so much more than a sampler. It's a development environment where you can put your sequences in and all this weird functions and stuff like that. I'll bet you could make an Electron inside a Contact.
Oh yeah.
Just like a lot of Native Instrument stuff is based on Reactor, a lot more is actually just based on Contact and putting in modulations in Contact with a weird GUI that you developed on top of it. And some of the new libraries that they've created are interesting. They've got one that's based on Detroit Techno, but they leaned heavy into Kraftwerk in their little demo of it. And that's what they're really going for. So that's cool. So, because I normally don't care about these sample packs too, because I'm already out of hard drive space on my laptop.
Sure. Well, especially right now because your laptop doesn't work.
Well, now my laptop's dead too.
Yeah.
This isn't even mine.
See that?
I stole this. So
The upgrades and updates they keep making to Contact. Contact is now a terrible sampler. It's almost unusable unless you're like digging in to build a sample library and build like this whole kit. If you just want to use it as a sampler, it is so overwrought and such a gigantic pain in the ass.
yeah, I do dislike its
Awful.
user interface.
Absolutely awful. It used to be better, but they've added so much to it now that it's just so overblown.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why, I mean, a lot of times the drum one, complete. I can't remember the name right now because of the stroke.
3.
Oh, battery?
Battery, that's the one. So battery's
Yeah,
got a simpler interface, and it has a function that I don't know if it's incomplete, where you can time out how many loops you want it to do. So I can have it like, all right, I'm going to hold the key, and I want you to loop this like 12, 17 times, and then play past it.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting. You can do really cool sound design things. Richard Devine made a kit for it for the original version of Battery that used that a lot. And it's very cool.
So you also will be happy to know, I'm just doing some research here real quick, that still only Contact and Guitar Rig are the only things that are in here in Complete 14 that are M1 supported.
Okay. Well, it's because they're probably the other ones that really got updated.
Yeah.
And they're also probably the. I would be willing to bet they're the most intensive too. I can see cases in which Reactor could be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing.
But sort of like the native setting of it, Guitar Rig is.
But Guitar Rig, yeah. Because you can have like 30 effects in a row. And that's you're just adding more math, and eventually it's going to get insane. You know how people get with their,
Bogs down.
their effects chains. Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It makes complete sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just kind of crazy, and none of their stuff is VST3 compatible yet.
Don't care.
Yeah, but it's just kind of interesting,
No, I understand. Well, I suspect that Native Instruments has a developer.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that there's been staffing problems in that company. They've downsized. They've gone through a lot of hard times. They've been bought out twice in the last 4 years. I think they've been bought out twice while we've been doing tangents.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just glad the company's still around. Because I suspect that a lot of updates haven't happened because I think they can't hold on to developers.
Yeah, that would.
And I'm just glad that they're not removing more products from the line because they can't update them to work on new things. And I really worry that someday they'll discontinue the ones that I need, which are Reactor, FM8.
Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah.
And speaking of sucking, that's the end of the show. We just covered 4 weeks worth of news in 2 hours. And somehow we still survive. Or maybe it's just because there wasn't that much news because of everything that's going on. But we will be, 3 out of 5 of us will be at NobCon this weekend. I'll be giving out X Studio stickers, that kind of stuff. We're gonna be hanging out with Wambra and your opponent, and I think that's everyone that's in the audience right now. That's going to be at.
I'm jealous.
At NobCon. But it'll be fun. Justin and I and Robin, we're going to hang out and we're going to look at synthesizers, and maybe we'll do like a little, like a recording of stuff, and maybe put it up at the beginning of the next tangent, so that way we can sit here and drink Mai Tais whilst the video plays and not work on anything.
Well, we'll see if Christoph can shut his pie hole.
I doubt that. That's one of the reasons why I have you on here, Christoph. Sometimes Jeff and Justin and Robin and I just don't feel like talking much, so we just feed you a topic and let it go. Thank you all for watching us tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for the interaction and everything like that. The show is 80 times more boring without having an audience to talk to. So we really appreciate you hanging out with us.
And thank you for talking in the stream,
Yes,
too.
absolutely. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, let's see who we going to bounce off to here. Oh, the Bard is on. Let's go and hang out with the Graceful Bard, shall we? I like when she sings our names.
I'm going to sneak another free thing. There's some other samples. We talked about free, so I'm giving some free. There's
all right.
I make a bunch of samples, and I usually sell them on Gumroad for like no money, but sell is an ambitious word for what I do with them. There they are. Please enjoy.
That's awesome. Thank you for the free. Thank you all for hanging out with us. And thank you for all a good time. See you in 2 weeks. Those of you who are coming up to NobCon, we'll see you at NobCon. Take care, everybody. Have fun. Let's go ahead and start working on our raid and all that stuff. So
don't forget to tune in to Golden Shrimp Guild's Synthon this weekend.
That's right.
9 day.
909 weekend. It's like 80 hours.
So Jeff will be a part of that. And some of you I will see tomorrow at Spike.
Hell yeah. And some of you will see Justin.
Where I will play 38 for Wambra.
All right, y'all. Have a great night. Thanks for watching.
Ciao.
Bye.